PMs. Um, Timothy is proprietor, if that's the right word. We'll find out more, of Nakatomi Inc. And also a artist. How do you join? There should be something saying, you've just done what you need to do, and going live with Timothy. And now it'll just wait while the connection does its connecting thing. There he is.
Hey, there we are.
There we are. It's now technically afternoon almost with you.
Yeah, 2 p.m. here. It's what, 10 o'clock at night?
No, thank God, it's 8 o'clock.
Okay.
No, thank God it's not 10 o'clock at night. I don't know how much sense I'd be making at that point after a full day. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm putting my headphones on here.
Yeah, get yourself comfy.
Yeah. So, sorry I was a little late.
No, bang on time.
I don't know why I was so obsessed with taking a shower. It's not like you could smell me. So
no, I can't. And I also
lucky you.
Yeah, and I have no idea what you're wearing beneath the chest.
Nobody needs to see that.
No, yeah, we're all good. No one knows, either of us. We could both be in our shorts.
No pants party. How you doing, Tom?
I'm doing good, thank you. And enjoyed having our little sort of pre-chat earlier. And really good to meet you. And for those, well, I said it to you, but I also want to say it again live, in front of people. Just thank you so much for your support of Given to Live over the years. And again, for when we chatted, offering to help us out with more posters again. It means a lot. And I can genuinely say, with hand on heart, your posters have sent people to shows.
Nice. I'm always glad to help. And like I said earlier in the pre-interview, when we do these poster runs for bands, especially a band like Metallica who might need 2,000 posters a night, there's always some extra. So I am more than happy to send them along to you to help out for such a good cause.
Thank you. And actually, going totally away from posters itself, I ordered because it just looked great. You're one of your notebooks, and I think I got notification that they're on their way. The way shipping is now for out of the States, I might get them in time for Christmas. But they look so cool, and I just thought I really wanted them, and
I forgot to put it in the any of the press information for those books, but the people who print those books for us, Danique, they're based out of Utah here in the States, and a portion of every single book that they print, the sales goes to help them build schools in disadvantaged areas. So,
good.
I was actually pretty remiss in not mentioning that, but it had a good charity angle as well.
I'm even more glad I did that. And I have to say, remiss is one of my favourite words of the language, of the English language. So it's like brilliant use of the word.
I hope I used it correctly.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
But if you start talking about aluminum, I'll have to correct you because it's aluminium.
I grew up in the Dallas area, and the PBS station there, public broadcasting, they were one of the first in the nation to air BBC comedies. So we would get Faulty Towers and Monty Python and Are You Being Served and all that. But
it was. God, Are You Being Served is taking me back years. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Big fan of Keeping Up Appearances. I love that show.
Bouquet.
Bouquet. Sir. No, but so getting around all the new accents back then, it was like, Mom, they're saying aluminium. What is wrong with them? But oh well.
Yeah, and just to let you know, when you go from A to B, you don't take a route, you take a route.
This interview's over. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Right. So anyway, your art as well is kind of, I mean, Nakatomi I think a lot of people know about Nakatomi, especially the Metallica fans will
Mm-hmm.
know. But I mean, your own art, how long has that been going on for you?
Well, like I'm sure almost every artist you talk to, they've been drawing since they could.
Yeah.
As a small child. My father was a musician, and my mother was pretty crafty. So, come from an arts family, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But I started showing in just small coffee shop gallery showings here in Austin back in 1999, and from there just kind of worked my way up to more respectable galleries. And there was a period for about 3 years that I ran a small chain of comic book stores here in Austin,
Okay.
and yeah, it was great. So I got to meet a lot of, and I worked at an art supply store as well here, and so I got to meet a lot of the local artists and get more entrenched with the art scene here. And then when I was hired on at the Alamo Draft House, I left the comic book stores and I started working at the Alamo Draft House Cinema. And I was a food runner and a cook and a ticket taker and a waiter. And they had just opened up Mondo. And it was open for maybe a month, and they were trying to figure out what to do with it as a concept. And they knew I had a lot of retail management experience, so I interviewed to be a theater manager. They said, you can't do that, you're not good, but you can manage our retail store. And so I built Mondo from a small little iron-on heat press T-shirt shop to what it was when I left in January of 2009. So I discovered the world of screen printed posters and rock posters and all that, and just kind of grew it from there. So it was fun. It's funny, I came at it backwards. Like when we started making posters at Mondo, the conceit was that it was gig posters for movies, and so we hired a lot of the gig poster artists. It was like, oh, it's like a rock poster but for John Carpenter's The Thing, or it's a rock poster but for Breakfast at Tiffany's or something. So but now I do, most of our business is in rock posters. So, we produce, well, when there are tours and there are bands that are touring, we'll produce, several hundred different posters within a year, and then, thousands of copies of each one of those. So it's a kind of our main output now. But, when I started Nakatomi, it was just to, work with the poster artists and friends that I had made while running Mondo. And I wanted to put my artwork out there as well. And it in the early days, we were kind of scrambling to make something work. And my artwork just ended up going viral a couple times in those first few months back in 2009, when you had to explain what going viral meant. And so it was like, well, I guess we can make money at this now. And I was able to grow my audience there. And I've just been a series of lucky breaks. It's kind of how it got me where I am now.
And when you say a series of lucky breaks, there is a certain truth in that, but you kind of have to be the right person and to make them happen. It's like I could offer you £1,000,000. If you don't take it, you haven't taken the £1,000,000, have you? Do you see what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's about being prepared when opportunity knocks, and being able to, quite honestly, kind of BS your way through some negotiations when a client will ask, can you do this? And you say, yes, I can absolutely do this. And then as soon as that meeting's over, you scramble to find out how to do the thing you just promised that you could do.
Yeah.
Because when we did our first tour poster series, which I think was for the band Failure, I think that was our first tour poster series, and they needed something like 25 posters within a month, maybe 6 weeks. And I was like, I know we can do this, but we've never done this. So, I agreed, and then immediately started making phone calls. And if you look at the tour poster series we do now, the first 4 or 5 posters are almost always by the same 4 or 5 artists.
Right.
Because they are the people up front, like Josh Budich, Tracy Ching, Jesse Phillips. There's a few others, and they're just so dependable and good and fast that I always know I pack the early dates of a tour with those posters, so that those are done and out of the way. And then the people at the very back end or people who's either their schedule was conflicting. They say, "Oh, I can't do something till later," or I know they're slow. So that helps too. Um, oh, my screen just timed out. Weird. You can still see me, correct?
I can see you. You're just slightly darker. That's all right.
That's weird.
It's like someone turned the light off or something.
No, nothing changed here. Weird.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's sort of.
Nope. Technical difficulties. Oh well.
That's all right. That's all right. We can still see you. We can still see you.
I'll move closer to the window.
Oh.
There we are.
You've just given people a tour of the inside of your house.
Yeah, this is my studio. So I guess the door to the bathroom's closed.
Right. This is where you work from.
Yeah. I have just behind this camera is my workstation, and then my drafting table, and behind me a bunch of comic books, and I have a large collection of Iron Man statues.
I noticed something. I didn't know what they were, but I could see that there was some statues of something up there. Yeah.
But yeah, so I started drawing because of the comic books. I'm a big comic book nerd, so it just kind of took off from there. I started with the nerdiest possible beginnings, and now I work for some of the biggest bands with hardcore metal bands. Hold on a second. I'm on video, dear. Say hi.
Hi there.
Can you bother Mom? I can't. I'm talking to people right now. Okay.
That's cool. It's the first time it's happened. It had to happen once.
Yeah,
it's usually cats. We usually get visited by cats, not humans.
Gotcha. No, I have a corgi running around here. I have a very old cat. She's about 17, I think. But she's hanging on there, hanging on strong. I have 2 children. That was my daughter May, and my son Rocco. Do you have kids, Tom?
No, I don't. No.
Yeah. Can't recommend it.
Okay. Yeah, don't let them watch this then.
Oh, they know. No, it's they're great, but it's such a lot of work. My productivity's gone down as they've gotten older and required more attention. But it's great. I wouldn't trade it for the world, mostly because I'd be a terrible person if I did. But
I mean, productivity that was actually something I was going to ask you, although not about your children. Obviously, this year, gigs wise, how hard? I mean, it's obviously hit you hard.
Yeah.
But how hard?
I mean, so our business, it's kind of got a.
Sorry, I was just going to say I've spoken to some artists who've lost 90% of their work, or were pure gig artists and have nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who just they're gig poster machines and they just pound them out, and they're beautiful work. But if that's all you do, you're in trouble right now. We kind of diversified what we do. Like I own a silkscreen print shop here in Austin, so we print for a lot of other artists. So that's kind of a steady stream of work. We also have our work in consignment shops and galleries all over the world. Actually, right there in London, Flood Gallery carries a lot of our stuff. Chris Marksberry is a good friend. I've been working with him for years. But all those shops have seen dramatic reduction in sales because the customers aren't coming in to shop. Yeah. And then we do all the tour poster management with bands, and then our website where we sell work from me and a bunch of other artists. So the web sales have pretty much remained steady, which is good, but everything else has dropped off. So it's a struggle, but we saved for a rainy day, and I have a lot of problems with the American government at times, but I did get a PPP loan from so that I was able to pay for our employees for a few months. So I haven't had to lay anybody off, and I feel like laying those guys off who've worked for me for years, some of them 8 or 9 years at this point, would be just like a crushing defeat, because they count on me and I count on them to pay our bills. So it's a scary time, honestly, but as long as it starts to even out, hopefully by the end of the year, um, then we'll be able to coast through.
Are you thinking of doing other things, broadening out, the puzzle? Some people are doing puzzles and what have you.
Yeah, I
Or
just released a puzzle through Invisible Industries.
okay, yeah.
That apparently did pretty well, and we're going to be doing a second one. Just sent him the art for that. Um, yeah, I did. I'm doing commissions for the first time, just direct to
Mm-hmm.
customer. So because I love painting with watercolor, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to do it pretty quickly. So we've been selling commissions on the side, saying, "Hey, I'll print. Tell me something you want me to paint, and I'll do a 9 by 12 painting of it." And that's been kind of a fun challenge. I did 50 of them last month, so
Mm-hmm.
that was actually a lot of productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just did a bunch of concept art for an animated show that might end up on a streaming platform. If all
Mm-hmm.
things go well, which would be great. And I just had a conversation yesterday with another documentarian who wants to talk to me about doing some animation for his film. So there's always work. It's just that with the tour poster series and the consignment shops and galleries we work with, they're kind of more passive in that I don't have to actively be drawing everything. We can hire other artists, or the artwork's already printed and sitting at a shop. So it's yeah. I mean, we're figuring it out. We're not losing money yet, but it's not nearly coming in as the way it used to. And that's
Yeah,
the
and
go ahead.
that's important. That's important. And I was just thinking about, you got the loan and you kept your staff on. And earlier you were mentioning how you also pay healthcare for them.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
Nakatomi has health insurance for all our employees.
the way you describe that is and why would I know? I would just assume every employer would do it, but you were saying that it's really only the bigger ones who would normally do it.
Yeah, I've never worked at a small business that provided healthcare for its employees. Like, yeah, I worked at a small comic book and baseball card store when I was 16, and even when I worked for the Alamo Draft House for a little bit, there wasn't health insurance early
Mm,
on. So it's a problem here in the States where, if you can't get a job that pays for your health insurance and you get sick, you're done. Financially, physically, you're just done. So that's one of the things I wanted to make sure we could provide and continue to provide for the staff, so that they don't have to, look for. Well, I get to keep them. They're working for
mm,
me, and they're happy to keep working for me. Uh,
mm.
and I feel more ethical doing that.
Yeah, and when we spoke about it earlier, that actually kind of really touched me. That sense of doing the right thing is important to me as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
and hearing that you were doing that as well. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah,
So
it's a point of pride. I'm glad I'm able to do it. So.
you mentioned that you have 4 or 5 when a big run comes up, who you can depend on and they're quick, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
now I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh my. Okay.
How far down the run do you put yourself to give yourself time?
I don't know if you
how,
noticed on.
how quick are you?
It varies wildly. Depends on what's going on in the world. I've definitely gotten a lot slower over the years as my skill sets improved, because I can kind of fall down a rabbit hole and
Mm-hmm.
spend more time on a piece than maybe I should.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the enjoyment for me. It's fun to
Mm.
do that. But yeah, back in the day when I'd have to. So years ago, I did 2 posters for Skrillex, back-to-back dates, and they came to me and said they needed the posters designed, printed, and delivered within, I think it was 72 hours, 2 posters, and I banged them out as quick as I could, and I think they look pretty solid, like some of my better gig posters, and I think it was that frantic rush to do.
Yeah.
But now, if a band came to me and wanted me to do that, it'd be very expensive for them for me to do
Right.
that. Because back then I was, needed the money and needed the
Mm.
work. But yeah, no, it's definitely. I can be quick if I have to, if I'm really scared.
Mm. Someone has just said, and I've just go to see their name, Marty Leonard. The
Yeah.
Quarantine Commission has been such a fun project to see Tim work on.
No, it's been a blast. Yeah, I've seen Marty's name come up every once in a while in orders and on Instagram there. But yeah, no, it's been great getting challenges from my fan base of things to paint and draw, and no, it's just fun because I get to stay at home and just work here in my studio painting Cobra Commander or whatever I get requests for.
Actually, that was something I meant to. I had in mind to ask you when we had our pre-chat. Is there a way of doing a sort of a given to live one that without it being me, as it were? Because that'd be
You don't want a drawing of you.
Well, no, not particularly. But because that'd be kind of a fun thing to do, and again, a way of giving back to you for what you've done for us.
I mean, it'd be an interesting challenge because graphically you'd have to, display what you guys do, which is, music and charity. So I think there's ways to creatively wed those two. I think we could do that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, so you have one more order.
There you go. Nice.
That's cool. So when something like, I mean, there was a Metallica tour you said earlier, come later in the year, but some of them are huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't imagine being in your shoes and it's like we have X amount of dates, and they don't do 6 dates. They do 50,
30,
100,
40,
or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Over a year. I mean, what's that like to get? I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of a plus side, in terms of working with Metallica, etc. But in terms of the weight of, right, we've got to get X done, do you get much? Are they good at giving you lead time, or?
Yeah, luckily the company that they work through that handles their VIP tour posters, which is the stuff that we do, is normally the VIP stuff. They don't go to the regular merch booth. They work with enough lead-in time because they're dealing with manufacturers all over the world. And so this company, CID Entertainment, they when they were first starting out and they were relatively small, would come to me and have me do 1 or 2 posters for a tour, and they were doing the tour management as far as the posters go. And one day I said, hey, you know what? I can just handle all this. We can do all your printing and artist liaisoning. Liaisoning? I don't think that's a word. But I'll tracking down the artists and making, there you go, that'll work. Making sure everybody hits their deadlines and dealing with revisions. We partnered with them on several projects. And they give us enough lead-in time. And normally, as far as approvals go, Metallica's been very easy to work with. I think out of all the prints we've ever done with them, we've only ever had to scrap 2, if I'm not mistaken. And, you just start over again. Get a different artist or let the artist do another pass. But usually, we submit the sketch, they say yes or no, or they say yes, but change this. And then, a week or 2 after that, we submit the final, couple revisions, if any at all, and just start printing as fast as you can. So, and the artists are happy. The deals are usually profitable enough to where we can offer the artists a good chunk. We'll handle this. We can handle the sale of their artist proofs for them, or we ship them their artist proofs, and at that point, it's like for them printing money. Because Metallica has such a big devoted fan base of collectors for their posters that the artists get to. And me being an artist myself, I usually make the kind of deals that I would want, and so I make sure the artists get taken care of, or I make sure to tell them well in advance, hey, this band, not Metallica, but some of the other bands might not be able to offer much money at all. So, no offense if you're not taking it, if you don't take the job. No, there's no problem there, no hard feelings. But I try to treat everybody the way I'd like to be treated.
That's a good way to work. A very good way to work. Yeah, because and I've heard, some of the print houses, if that's the right expression,
sure,
don't treat their, and and the person who told me never mentioned names or whatever, but it was just like, do not treat their artists well, you know. And to me, it's they're the ones who are making, in a way, they're making your living. Without them, there isn't a poster. Without them,
Yeah.
there isn't a run of 5 or 5,000. You know, so
Right.
how can you not treat them right?
Well, a lot of times younger artists can get taken advantage of because they don't know what they don't know,
Right.
and they don't know the power that they wield. And I guess I'm one of those rare artists that also has a business head about them.
Mm-hmm.
Like most artists, they just, rightfully so, they just want to draw. They don't
Mm.
want to have to worry about contract negotiation. They don't want to have to worry about fulfilling orders even. They just want to draw. They
Mm.
don't. But I kind of, I want to get involved in every aspect of it because I found it so fascinating. Like the business of art is an art in and of itself.
Mm.
And yeah, I just, yeah. So younger artists can get taken advantage of. A lot of people don't realize the leverage they have, what they can ask for.
Mm.
Always ask for the moon and settle somewhere in between. That's how you should negotiate. And it's
Yeah.
just don't have to be a dick about it. But um, yeah, there was one company that I know they're still around. Acme Archives early on approached me. Uh, Early in my career, right after we had my first Unreal Estate show that sold out on the first day. And they said, hey, you're great, you're hot stuff, we'd love to work with you, here's a contract. And I read through it, I was like, do you actually get people to sign this contract? Because this thing's horrible. Like, this is
Really?
horrible. And I say, oh, but you get to do work with Disney and Fox, and you get to do all this great stuff. I'm like, well, I can talk to them. Like, you're the middleman.
Mm.
Those places like that are the middleman standing between the people you want to work for and the artist, and so they only exist to skim money going both directions,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah.
And I talked to other artists over the years who were under contract with them and just said, yeah, I'll never work with them again. The contract expired. I'm very happy because for them and a lot of people, it's all about control. The artists who work for me, they can work for anybody they want to.
Yeah.
And I highly encourage it because the more that they work with other people, the more people know about them, seek out their work, and sometimes that comes back to me. Whereas other people jealously protect their talent, and I think it's a zero-sum game, and it's not the way the world works. All us artists prop each other up, and we get there together, or we don't get there at all. And there's always going to be standouts. But even some of the biggest names in gig posters, like Emick, or Jermaine Rogers, or just people I've had the pleasure of working with. Like, they're very helpful and they'll give out advice very easily. Like Jermaine, years ago, if you got on the phone with him, you'd be on the phone for about an hour and a half. Yeah, and you figure the guys like this, they don't need to be that helpful or kind to new talent, but they're not jealously protecting their territory. They want everybody to do well, and I find that very inspiring, and that's how I like to work.
Mm. And talking about how you like to work, I mean, I'm just kind of looking down because, I mean, they're very much the Metallica flavor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking at some of the other other bands you've worked with, which have been the most enjoyable that you've worked with. I don't. When I'm asking that, that's not to sort of throw into the mix that Band X were a nightmare, but just wow, sort of from the sort of, oh wow, that's fun. I really wanted to work with them. That's a cool band. Or
Well, I will say the most fun that I had personally as an artist was we did Lady Antebellum's tour a few years ago, and they wanted one artist to do the whole series. So, and luckily they only needed a poster, I think, every 2 or 3 weeks. And so it was one poster for several dates. And so I was able to do that. And I got to kind of visually design what their tour series looked like on my own. And that was really rewarding as an artist.
yeah,
And even as a printer, because they only needed one poster every few weeks. You're doing, 2,000 copies of one poster as opposed to, 100 copies of 20 different posters. So it was easier to print as well. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think they just changed their name because of the racist connotations of the word antebellum.
Right.
But it's I think they're Lady A now. But yeah, they were really great to work with. As far as managing a tour series, Metallica has been a dream because their only art direction going into it was we like skulls. We don't want any nudity, drugs, or overt violence. It could be they don't want somebody getting their head chopped off on a poster. And obviously, several members of the band I think have been through rehab at this point, so they're sensitive to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. But but like just with those limitations, there's a whole world that you can work in, which is fantastic. I did posters for Coachella for about 6 years, I think, and that was fun because they just kind of same requirements, no nudity, no drugs, no alcohol, which is funny because when I think of Coachella, I think of nudity, drugs, and alcohol. But they're trying to present a different face to their poster buying public. But yeah, I just did this silly drawing of a panda bear playing a guitar, sitting underneath a tree that had grown up around a Volkswagen bus, so that the Volkswagen bus was up in the air, and they loved it. And so every year I would come back and revisit that theme with pandas and music and strange, serene scenes, and so that was really rewarding as an artist.
And
Absolutely.
how long was that Antebellum series? Can you remember?
I think it was about 6 posters.
Right.
I think 6 prints, and that was really fun. It's so not the most difficult, but we recently worked for Weird Al, and he had 65 dates in the span of, I want to say 3.5 months. It was intense, and he knew, or his people knew exactly what they wanted for each tour stop.
Right.
So each stop on the tour, they're like, okay, we're doing a show in Minnesota, so we want a poster based around the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, which is one of the songs. So it was good and bad. Good in that it's great to have a client know exactly what they want, but it also boxes you in. But at the same time, like having those restrictions put in place, is like, oh well, who would be really good on a poster for this song or this idea or this concept, and so it's just a different set of challenges. And he was not picky, but wanted to make sure his likeness was right, and understandably, Al is apparently very hands-on, but of course it's a much smaller operation than it is for Metallica.
Yeah.
But,
I don't imagine they're coming into the shop to sort of see how it's coming along.
No, I doubt. I hope not. They should be busier than that. Yeah, it was nice. So when Weird Al played in Austin, me and all the artists who lived here locally got to go meet him after a show, and he was very generous with his time. So it was a fun challenge. So it was more difficult, but it was also a good artistic challenge. But yeah, so they needed so many posters so fast, we could only take about half the dates. I did say, well, we could do all of them, but you'd have to up the price quite a bit because we'd be working double time in the shop, and they had a budget they wanted to stick to. And I was like, okay, so we could take half of those dates, and you'll have to find something else to do the other half. And which it worked out great. Like the artwork all around was pretty cool.
I have no idea who SS2 Steppin is, but he said hi to both of us. Or
hello.
I just kind of like, no idea who they are, but I like
SS2 Steppin. Okay.
Yeah, I like the fact that they said hello to both of us. That's kind of you. And hello back, SS Steppin. Or whatever I should be calling you. Actually, I'm just kind of looking down again. Oh, hey, Seth. The Lumineers, one of the ones you were saying, that was one of the ones that you'd done and just sent off.
Yeah, that was the last gig poster I illustrated, and they knew exactly what they wanted. They wanted it based on their most recent video series, around their third album, Lumineers 3. And they
And
had a distinctive look.
it's a great. I'm looking at it now. I mean, it's a great poster.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, and as we were working on it, started hearing some rumbling about a virus in China. And, they're worried it might spread. And, me, and I'm sure a lot of us were thinking like, oh, it's going to be like SARS or MERS. It's going to be contained locally wherever it is. And, it'll fade out soon enough. Or, it'll be really scary for a couple weeks and then it'll be gone. And, so we printed the posters. They needed about 2,000. They were going to come back for more later if necessary, as they were on tour, depending on how the posters sold. And we shipped them off, and we shipped the first batch off to the first stop on the tour. And then by the time they needed the second batch shipped, they weren't sure if the tour was going to go on, but they accepted delivery of them just because they had already paid for them. But I can only assume Lumineers is sitting on a crate of about 1,000 Tim Doyle hand-printed posters. And I don't know if they'll ever see the light of day now. But yeah, it's I lucked out. I've had a couple of near misses like that too. We were in talks to do the Australia, New Zealand tour posters for Metallica on their most recent tour down there, and it went to a local merchandise company because they, depending on where they're playing, like they have a regional exclusivity to certain companies. Like if they're playing in the UK, there's certain people they always work with.
They work with Probity over here.
Right. So it's we weren't able to get the New Zealand Australia dates just because of previous existing contracts, and then like 2 weeks later, the tour was canceled. Yeah. I was like, oh well, good thing we didn't set all these wheels in motion. Just dodged a bullet there.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I think a lot of it's to do with the fact that you send us a lot of posters. Given Live has a lot of Metallica fans, and the World Wide Web obviously means that there were so many people I got messages from going, oh man, because Slipknot was supporting them as well, and so we've got a lot of Slipknot people who follow us, and just devastated's too strong a word, but for some it was just like, oh my god, and
absolutely.
And I, like you were saying, I thought when this first thing, I thought it was going to blow over in a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and it's certainly been a lot longer than that.
Yeah, we're what's this? August? Yeah, we've been locked down since March.
So. I believe so. Honestly, I was talking to someone the other day saying, yeah, your court case, because I mentioned that we, amongst other people, we've taken someone who's gone through domestic violence, and the case, because of him not turning up and all sorts of things, has taken 3.5 years, which her lawyers never heard of. And I'm like, okay, so I remember sending her a message saying, because I wanted to sort of wish her luck and this, that, and the other, and it's going in to the end of it's the 31st of June, isn't it? And by this stage, A, we were in July, I realised after the conversation, and B, there's not 31 days in June. This is the effect of this being in lockdown, because we weren't, I don't know how long it was overall, when you really weren't allowed out of your house except to go to the shop or exercise of some form for half an hour, and that was it, for a good couple of months, I would say. And I mean, it was like, I'd come in here, see if I had post. This building normally is full of people, and there would just be me and the person who ran the building. I'd come in, I'd say hi, and that was it.
Yeah, we're still as strict as some lockdowns are. I would prefer that to what we're dealing with here, where you could go out and lick every doorknob if you wanted to. There seems to be no. It's the Wild West, literally, here in Texas, because, there's mask laws, but nobody's enforcing them. And if you ask somebody to wear a mask, they could flip out on you. And it's just, I don't see it ending anytime soon, mainly because Americans seem to be incredibly stupid when it comes to infection control. And that's coming from the top down. There's just no leadership around this, so it just keeps getting it keeps flaring up again. And the proof is in the numbers. It just, they keep going up. The death toll keeps going up, and I want to get back to normal as soon as possible, as much as everybody else. But there's only one way to do that, and that's staying home and wearing your damn mask. So I would love to get back to shows, concerts, and conventions. And our mayor here in Austin closed South by Southwest about 2 weeks before it was supposed to start, like jumping the gun. But in retrospect, the guy probably saved thousands of lives, because that was right when it was kicking off. So I really got to give props to him. It hurt me financially because South by Southwest is a big financial boom for us. But that's only money. You can't replace lives. So he absolutely did the right thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's funny you mentioned Slipknot. Go ahead.
Go on. No, you go over the Slipknot. Go on.
Oh, no, it's funny you mentioned Slipknot. I just did a podcast with Clown.
Yeah.
And it's fun. That came about because I do those Metallica posters. Yeah, the company that I work with, CID, there's another company that I guess they kind of partner with sometimes, but they handle Iron Maiden and Slipknot, and they put my name in front of Clown to talk to me, and so he just calls me on the phone. It was an audio podcast, and we just talked for an hour, and I don't know much about Slipknot, and you could tell he did zero research on me, but it was just two artists here in our middle-aged, years, talking to each other, and it was like having a drunken conversation at a bar. Honestly, it was really funny. But the podcast episode isn't live yet, I don't think. But yeah, it was such a surreal interaction that I can't imagine. I'm sure he's got super fans that would love to talk to him.
Yeah.
And then there's me, who's like, I really don't know anything about Slipknot at all, but I'm happy to talk to you. But yeah, strange world.
That is for sure. That it's a strange world. That is for sure. Yeah. You got artists. They're not your artists. They can, like as you said, can work for whoever they want. But there's you got quite a stable, for want of a better word, that you use regularly.
Yeah. And I'm always trying to expand that stable too. Like, one of the things, a couple years ago, I was at a New York City Comic-Con, and
I know someone who would love to do a gig poster.
Oh, is that what you're saying? Yes.
Who is a amazing artist, but he was actually in the 2007 was given sports artist of the year by award, and he does a lot of portraits of Slash, Steven Tyler, Pearl Jam, and
nice.
He'd love to get into gig posters. I can send you information if you like.
Yeah, do an email introduction. I'd love to. I'm always looking for new people to work with, because it's, if a band needs 50 posters, then I need 50 artists. One of the things we've tried over the last few years is to expand the diversity of the artists we work with, because it was pointed out to me by a mutual friend who's an artist at a dinner we had at New York City Comic-Con, and she had mentioned that she'd like to do gig posters, and I said, "Oh, why don't you? You'd be amazing at it." She said, "Well, it seems kind of be a boys' club." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess there's not a lot of women artists in the scene, which is sad, really." And then she said, "Well, she said, you could hire more women artists, I was like, "Of course." Like, why haven't I been doing this? It was like a blind spot I had. I was like, yes, that is a problem, without recognizing that myself had the influence to change that. So, the Metallica tour 2 years ago, we had about 30% women artists, and the most recent one, we had 50%.
Wow.
And it's like, and it was pointed out to me the other day by somebody that I've hired more women artists for one tour than Mondo has in its entire existence.
Wow.
I was like, oh my, well, that's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I realized that, people like me in positions of small power, it's not like I don't wield a ton of power in the industry, but, with the position I'm at where I'm making decisions of the type of people we bring in, it's up to me to be the change that I want to see. So, we reached out to more and more, and, it's been great. Tracy Ching's been a good friend of mine for years now, in the art community. And embarrassing, I had to go to her. I was like, I only know the people I know. I need to know more women artists. So
Right.
who do you know? So she helped me source, quite a few amazing artists, and I'm always happy to keep working with them. And the results were fantastic. I think that most recent Metallica series was some of the best artwork we've ever done, because we're bringing in a lot of different voices and experiences along with that. And that was one of the reasons why I myself didn't do a poster on the most recent tour, because I was working with talent that, in my opinion, far outstrips my own. So who am I to take a job away from somebody that even I think draws better than me? So it was fun. I liked it.
I just really respect, again, it's that same thing as like saying, no, I want to keep my staff, I want to pay the healthcare, it's like, and then that thing of like, I can actually make a difference and make a real change, and start employing more female artists. I mean, that's
Yeah.
to make that decision, and to kind of, not to kind of go, well, I know him, and him, and I know he's great, and this, that, and the other, and to just go, I think that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's a
And I
real.
mean, I don't want too much congratulations on this, because I've been in the industry for 15 years now. I started at
Oh, well, in
Mondo
that
in
case,
2005.
in
Yeah.
that case, I'm gonna just
No,
bow.
no, 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 no. But no, like it's really a decision I should have reached years ago. Better late than never. But I was like, oh yeah, why haven't I been doing this? I should have been doing this the whole time. So, but
And
it's we all
are
have to
you
try to.
are you familiar? Sorry, I'm just looking back, trying to get back.
Oh,
Oh
sure.
God, I'm not good at this. There was a comment or two I wanted to sort of follow up on. But are you
Let's see if I can.
familiar with Wolf Skull Jack?
With who now?
Wolf Skull Jack. She did some work directly for Metallica, but she's over here, and I know her really well, and
Okay.
and she's a talent. I could put you two together as well. And she's
Please
obviously
do.
she's a lady, obviously.
Yeah.
Other one, yeah, well, not obviously Wolf Skull Jack. Her real name's Michelle, but if you're
Yeah.
looking, I can put you two together as well if you'd
Oh,
like.
that'd be great. It
I'll
was
do.
it was funny too. There were some artists like Tracy said, oh, I should definitely talk to Phantom City Creative. I was like, Phantom City Creative's a lady? I don't even know. It's like, oh, it's a one guy and one woman working together. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
Paige Reynolds at Phantom City Creative did the Metallica poster with the Lady Justice with the skull face holding the scales, and I think that was probably the
Yep.
most technically superior one. You've lost your video feed. Are you there?
I am, and I pushed a button, and I'm.
Oh my! You probably muted your camera.
What have I done? I don't
Oh,
know.
you've ruined it. You've
I was
ruined the whole thing.
I was trying to go scroll back through things, and I
You killed it.
normally know that I can push a button and get myself back. Oh, maybe it's this one up top. There we are.
There we are. Okay.
How I
Uh,
got there, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
I
No, it
was
was interesting. Like, there's artists that have followed for years that, for whatever reason, have been non-gender specific in all of their social media, and I have to wonder if it's because they know that sometimes women get the short shrift when it comes to people looking to employ them, and so if they're not presenting actively as a woman on social media, that maybe they actually may get more job offers, because some people just don't want to work with women for all kinds of horrible reasons. But yeah, so yeah, Wolf Skull Jack. I'll take a look. Yeah, but I
oh
wouldn't have guessed immediately, and that's my own prejudices, that I wouldn't have guessed immediately that she was a woman.
yeah, and I know also this other guy, Brian Fox. I know I'll sort of do emails and sort of CC and do whatnot with that one. We've got about 10 minutes,
Okay.
maybe a little less. Someone, typical guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, says he met you at NYCC Comic Con,
Yeah.
and you talk
Nice.
bands, and he thinks he recommended checking out Fontaine's DC.
Okay. I don't recall that, but usually at a convention, I talk to 1,000 people a day.
A lot of people. Yeah, I bet. And there was some other comment I saw, and that's Tracy is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Glad she introduced you to Z. Her Metallica poster is amazing.
Yeah, Zixu was Tracy's mentee a year or more ago, and I got to meet her at New York City Comic Con as well last year. But she was great. Tracy really steered her correctly because she was essentially a brand new poster artist, and she got to do a poster for one of the biggest bands out there. But she had the skills, and it delivered, and I thought the poster looked great. Yeah, Tracy's a good person to know.
Okay, I'm logging that little bit of information there as well. Definitely, I've done it again. But I've worked out how to. I don't know what I'm pushing to knock myself out, but I'm managing to do that. But I've discovered how to get myself back quick now.
Technology has made fools of us all. I make fun of my parents sometimes for not knowing how to operate something, but here we are. I'm just like, I feel like a grandfather already.
Well, once upon a time, not that long ago, we need a new laptop, and about 3 months in, it's not working, and I'm like, Jesus, man, this is new, and the whole sending it back thing just annoys me, and taking it back, and it's just like, oh man. But somebody I knew a bit about it and came in and said, yeah, I'll have a look at it for you. Within 45 seconds, he turned to me and said, Tom, if you push the power on off button, it would have come on for you. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, man.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've said that publicly. I've said that publicly.
Oh, everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows. I'm just kind of getting, and we've got a few minutes, unless there's anything you particularly want to ask me. And actually, I will, forgive me for just, because I know a lot of people will have come to see you, because very few of these names I recognize. Just do a little bit of promotion about Given to Live as an organization. What we do, we're also, you can probably tell from my accent, I'm in the UK, but we're also now 501c3 in the US, and we take people to live music, but we do it in a way to make them feel whatever they've gone through or are going through, that they matter as people.
Right.
And it's any age. We've taken people who suffered domestic violence, post-traumatic stress, mental health issues, cancer, end of life. One guy his dying wish was to see it, to go to a festival before he died,
Sure.
And he had this, it was quite beautiful. He had this theory this desire that he was going to last 3 days. And once chatting with the lady who made the application for him, on the Monday, because he was getting sicker and sicker, we kind of, between us, we thought if we can get him through 5 hours, for 1 day,
right,
and it's sunny, then that's it. And it was almost to the minute that the pain started kicking in so bad he had to leave. But he got his festival,
there you go.
And that's what we do. And as I mentioned to you, we create, we have artists create posters for the people we take, and we cover every single cost along the way. So yeah,
Nice.
We go.
It's like a musical Make-A-Wish.
Yeah, but better.
Right.
So I'm allowed to say that.
Absolutely.
Is there a band? Obviously bands already work, bigger bands, you know, will work with people that they know well or whatever. But is there someone on your sort of, oh man, if I'd just love to do them?
I would love to do some work for They Might Be Giants. They've always been one of my favorite bands ever
Right.
since I was a kid. I remember turning on MTV in the late '80s and seeing the video for Anna Ang and being like, "Well, I don't know what I'm looking at, but this is what I like, and I want more of it as soon as possible." So I went to the CD store when those existed and bought every album they had at the time and every single I could get my hands on. And yeah, just I feel like that's been a band that I've grown up with, you know, all throughout my adolescence till the aged, decrepit 43 that I am now. But yeah, no, it's a you know, they're very inspiring to me.
Don't say decrepit at 43 when you're talking to a 52-year-old.
Well, I'm falling apart, Tom. It's all going to hell. There's gray. I have gray now. When did that happen?
I don't.
I know. Yeah, no, but I feel like they were very, you know, inspiring to me artistically, and it'd be fun to not give back, but to collaborate visually with the stuff that they put out musically. I think would be an interesting challenge. But you know, like honestly, you know, Metallica is probably one of the biggest touring acts in the world. Definitely touring rock acts. You know, Taylor Swift might pull a bigger crowd. But you know, and no shade on Taylor, she's got it together.
Horses for courses, yeah.
Yeah, not my style of music, but holy God, she's built something amazing, and I love her kind of fuck you attitude to the music industry and to her previous manager or whatever people she's worked with. It's good to see that she's got a little bit of that in her. But yeah, like once you've worked with somebody like Metallica, you're like, okay, I don't know if I can go bigger, but can I get more closer to you know, the stuff that I grew up loving, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that side of the industry at all, but I imagine if people are seeing, you know, there's, you know, this guy doing Metallica, other bands of a similar status might think, okay, well, maybe we're not getting on so well with this lot. Maybe we could have a look at this guy, Mr. Nakatomi.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah, it's always, you know, and every, like, I'm not a big country music guy, but I've done a lot of work with country musicians. And
we're just saying we're in the 2-minute countdown.
Oh, okay. So we're counting down. Well, I was gonna just to encapsulate, you know, like I'll work with any genre or musician because it's always an interesting artistic challenge. So.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to Given to Live. I mean, it tends to be rock and metal, but it's always about what they want to see. We never kind of do a thing of like, okay, you want to see band X, but they're 500 miles away from here is the only date, so we'll take you to a tribute band or something similar. It's like, no,
right.
we'll take you those 500 miles and make sure you get what you want, you know. So
nice.
Yeah,
that's great, important.
Tom. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's time to wind up, really.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. And yeah, like I said in the pre-interview, anytime we have posters that we can help you out with, I'm more than happy to hook you up. Because you guys do good work.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and any band, it doesn't have to be in Metallica either, you know.
Sure.
Anything, you know, is massively, and you said to send you an email, and I will. And I'll also give you the 2 emails to Wolf Skull and Brian, and you know, or their websites, and you can have a look at them and see if you like, if you fancy it. You know.
Nice.
Excellent. Thanks so much for doing this, Tim. It's been a lot of fun. Really,
no problem, Tom.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah. And
wonderful.
Yeah, take care and stay safe. And I want, before in the last 10 seconds, I will say I do enjoy seeing your, you know, your